Hey, welcome to Old Ass Movie Reviews. I'm Scott. There's Dave. On that, one day, I'll figure it out. Only 160 episodes, 60 plus episodes in, and I still don't know where I edit and put Dave. But anyway,
no idea where you're at.
Half the time, I really don't know where I'm at. Right now, I think I am in front of my computer talking to my friend Dave. In reality, I'm with my cat pretending to do a podcast. Anyway,
You're talking to a clone.
I'm talking to a clone. Today, we have a treat for you. We have jumped back into Star Trek. We're with Star Trek 5. I can't remember the rest of the Final Frontier. Is that
Final
it?
Frontier?
Star
Trek 5, the Final Frontier.
Final Frontier. This is a very divisive entry into the Star Trek movies. When people talk about what they dislike, you'll hear the motion picture, but you'll really hear this movie get shit on. And a lot of it with Shatner directed this. I'm going to go on record and saying I absolutely adore this movie, but it is incredibly flawed. So it's got a lot of problems, but man, to me, I look at that and I see that's Star Trek, and we'll talk about that. But that's the movie we watched this week, and it was neat to come off of music and right back into the Star Trek universe and watching the special effects get better. No, you don't think the special effects were better?
This episode in this movie?
I thought so. I thought they were good, man. maybe because I was watching it on a 4K ultra high def. It was very clean, looked incredible. So I thought it looked nice.
What's funny, the reason I looked at you like that is, folks,
I thought you froze.
Yeah. You have to forgive my voice. I have a chest cold right now, so I'm kind of working through it. Hopefully I'll be able to last the show. But right before we went on, I told Scott I have a couple of real big problems with this movie.
Here it is.
Tell you all about them whenever we get on there. And the first thing you say is how great the special effects are. And I was like, those are the worst fucking special effects in the fucking series.
I disagree.
In the guy's hand.
No,
not literally, but
no. I thought they were good, and it could have been my setup. It looked really nice. I thought it was better, but. I get it. They're still old effects from what we're used to. It did look like miniatures were still being used.
Yeah, they were still using models. A lot of people are going back to models, it seems like.
Well, they should.
Star Wars does, because
I hope everything does. Practical all the way. It holds up. It doesn't age out. It always works, man.
It always looks better. Always does. As long as you get the lighting right.
And as long as you can hide the zipper on the rabbit suit, you are good to go. Just saying, Night of the Lepus. Oh, yes, folks, go back and listen. We've done it.
Oh, God.
So this particular movie starts off with the crew pretty much all on shore leave. Enterprise is being, I guess this is a new one, being built
probably refitting an old ship.
It's really a mess. It's not finished. Scotty's got his hands full trying to get the thing to even get out of dock. But one of the best things for me, I want to talk about my favorite part of this movie is Bones, Spock, and Kirk.
Yeah.
These three guys have such love for each other. They're brothers. No matter how much McCoy is always bitching at Spock, and Spock points and jabs back as well. It's just seeing their interaction and Spock's kind of Spockness.
Getting under McCoy's last nerve.
Yeah, and it's fun to see that, and with Spock and his marshmallows, because he read up on Earth customs of camping, and they were going to make s'mores.
This one I think is my wife's favorite movie of the deal because of the marshmallows.
Yeah,
she always thought whenever we get marshmallows or we're going to go do something, I'm going to get a marshmallow.
It's wonderful.
It's just the thing.
And she pulls out a little device that replicates a marshmallow.
It's an awesome device. Who wouldn't want that?
I know. I would eat marshmallows all day. But
it's a good opening scene. It really is a good opening scene, letting you know where everybody's at, how bad a shape the ship is in. I actually like the opening scene with I want to say Sarek, but that's not right.
I know we got so many names, Cybok, many names that sound alike, and it's almost it's almost like, here's the visual I got when what we see, it opens up on a desert planet. It's a mess, but it's
Right.
supposed to be a paradise, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we see what happened there. But you see a horseman riding, and I just get like a horseman of the apocalypse vibe. It's like,
And
or
I- and I
dark messenger coming,
Yep,
and it's like,
behold the pale horse.
that's all was going through my head seeing that. It's like, that
Right.
was a nice setup, because I guarantee that was purposeful for us to think that.
Oh
So
yeah,
that was,
yeah. Especially with the robes flowing and
yeah, it was
these are
really
my
cool.
holes. The opening line is this alien that's just digging holes. He's got nothing. I mean, he lives on this effing planet in the middle of
I want to know
nowhere.
what he's digging for.
It just has holes. But the guy rides up and he's like, "You can't have these holes. They're my holes." And I'm like, "Wow, that's a poor guy.
Mhm.
That is one poor guy." I mean, we think
That
we
was to
got
show
poor
you.
people on this planet. Jeez, oh peace. The planet of peace needs some reforms.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's where they're at. They're on a planet in the neutral zone. And the three major empires all have representatives there. Earth and the Federation,
Mhm.
Romulan Empire, and the Klingon Empire all have ambassadors there. And a new female ambassador has just showed up from Romulus. And I think the human thinks he's going to get lucky with her because that's what humans would
I
do.
got to say something real quick. She was the first I noticed with the erect ponytail.
Right.
And then there was something in this movie. Somebody had a thing for erect ponytails. I don't know what's going on here. They had issues with their mother or something, but the Klingon warrior, she also had a erect ponytail, the big
Right.
buff
Right.
woman. So
That worked on the Klingon chick, though.
it
That,
did. On the
that
other one,
worked
it's like,
she was
I
like,
got all I could think of, and I know this came before, but all I could think of is Ruby Rod from The Fifth Element with that, Chris Tucker. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
So it's,
They didn't have a
yeah.
disc jockey in this one.
No, thankfully. There's a lot of things they
Um,
didn't have in this one, which was both good and bad.
the cat chick,
Yeah.
real quick, they're on this planet.
Yeah.
You don't know yet who Cybok is. He just shows up. He's got these people where he breaks through their mental barriers to what haunts them basically their whole life. And they open up and they start following Cybok. So he takes these three guys prisoner. That one of them's a woman, the Klingon, the human, and the Romulan. He tells all their empires that, I got these people. I'm going to kill them if you don't help out, or you don't come give me a ship or take me somewhere or do whatever. Wow, one of my lights just went out. That was
Yeah.
freaky. Then my background went.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's got him. The Enterprise is called. Go there. You're the closest ship we got. Of course, I mean, it's only the neutral zone. There's probably 40 fucking ships flying around it.
That is an issue with the story. It's like,
that right there is like, come on, you guys got to have more than one fucking ship in this.
let me talk about that real quick. And that is done to set up. Here is going to go Kirk into battle with a lame ship that hardly has weapons, doesn't have systems, because he's such a badass. And of course, he's going to run into the Klingons. But let's talk logic here. The Admiral says he needs Kirk because he's like, hey, my ship isn't ready. But he's like, well, I need Kirk. I'm thinking, well, then put him on another ship.
Yeah, put him and his crew on another ship. Give him the Excelsior or whatever it was called.
Yes, exactly. So that was kind of silly seeing that. But yeah, they head on their way. And of course, this is when I really started laughing when I see sure enough the Klingons show up.
Yeah. Every time I see him, I think of Heavy Metal Klingon.
Yeah.
Waiting for him to pull out his axe and just start playing.
Yeah. I think of Shonuff, the Shogun from The Last Dragon. But anyway, he shows up, a young Klingon warrior who sees his opportunity to take out the infamous Captain Kirk. Well, one, that's really stupid because he knows who Kirk is, and he's just, it'll make him look good if he survives.
Yeah, if you can live through it.
Yeah, you'll be a hero if you kill that dragon with your dagger.
Pencil.
With your pencil, Bilbo.
Yeah, because that kid's got like an older ship too. I mean, that's an older.
Yeah. He's in a bird of prey.
Oh, They're like, here, take this tugboat and go after the
Well, and they make a point to show that too. It's like every time they show the Klingons, it's so industrial metal, like,
right.
and it's like I just expect steam to be rolling
Yeah.
and just it's
He gets
it
hit
looks
and
it's
there's a steam.
dirty, it's dark, it's grimy, and it really gives you a feel for them because they don't need the fancy lights and the little whistles.
Yeah. Comfortable beds are like not a thing for them.
They have one mission, and it's to destroy Dave's green screen
Yeah.
and mine too,
That's all
because
right.
the fabric of reality tears behind me. So
That's all
anyway,
right. We're good. We're good.
yeah. So what happens is they, of course, go to intervene and rescue these ambassadors. But
Right.
what's happened, as you were saying earlier, with Cybok is he's like an empathic healer. He does something to these people where that takes away all their past pain, and they
Right.
instantly want to follow him because I mean that would feel good. That would be great, of
Yeah.
course. So he legitimately is helping people. This is an interesting villain, even though I think a very flawed villain.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy, but I mean, yeah,
Very
you
focused.
he's very hyper focused, a little
He's
too focused.
yeah.
But we later find out that Cybok is Spock's half brother. Interesting twist.
That was good. I remember the first time I saw that, I was like, get the hell out of here. Because I
Yeah.
went to see this at the theater. I'm
Oh
like,
yeah.
get the hell out of here. What is this crap? And then he explains, I'm like, okay, I'll give you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Good explanation.
Yeah, and also, there's a scene where they could have ended it all real quick. Spock could have killed him and it been
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
it was there's a lot. This is a pretty deep movie that needed for me about 3 or 4 rewrites because I think the underlying story is really solid. But man, we're missing a lot of details, a
It
lot
definitely
of
felt
him.
rushed. It definitely
It's
feels
very
rushed
rushed.
compared to the other ones.
Oh, it
It
is.
really
It feels
does.
like it. It feels like they just got this out. Um, but for the plot of the story, Cybok believes he has found heaven or whatever the Vulcans called it, and basically the afterlife, and found God. No
God.
matter who it is they call him by, that he found God, and God has coordinates,
Yeah, it
and
was
he needs to
paradise.
steal us. Yeah, paradise. Yeah,
The Klingons don't believe in an afterlife as far
right.
they believe in Stovacor. So that's what they called it. The Romulans called it something else. When the human was on there, he called it the Garden of Eden or
Right.
paradise or something
Eden.
like
Yeah.
that. Eden. And I'm like, okay, so they're not talking about heaven. They're talking about paradise. They're
Yeah.
slightly
It's
different. And
it's
I get
semantics.
it. I mean, somebody felt uncomfortable calling it heaven for whatever reason. But that I like how they're going through the barrier and it's in the galactic core.
Mhm.
So everything that we think is in the galactic core isn't really there. It's just this one effing planet
Yeah.
with this immensely powerful alien on it, an alien species,
And
which I
here's
thought
where
was
I start to have a lot more issues with this movie. Is they never give a backstory other than he was in prison there for eternity, and this is only by his. If you're not paying attention, you miss that, and
yeah.
that's it. We're okay, and then we're not going to ever talk about this again. This movie is very rushed.
Well, to rewrite in my fan brain
Mhm.
now, not then, but now, he could have been a Q.
Very well could have been.
Could have been a Q that had some of his powers taken away. Maybe you can't down power a Q entirely.
That's
You
great.
know,
However, we didn't know about cues
well,
during
we didn't
this.
know about
This
Qs then, but like in retrospect, I'm thinking, okay, you make a valid
you
point.
could
But
retcon it into a
really,
cue.
but let's say this guy is some alien species, like you said. If they're so ancient, you would never be able to find them. You wouldn't be able to find anything about them unless they
Well,
wanted to be found, if
I
they were
got
even still around.
I got the impression because one of the greatest lines in this movie is what does God need with a starship?
What does
You
God need
know,
with Starship?
it is a perfectly logical question.
Absolutely.
Steinbach is so focused that he has found paradise and found what he was
God.
looking for that he will not listen to reason.
Yeah,
I
he
get
hasn't
it.
questioned
He's not
anything
going to
yet.
question it. It's like, oh my God, doesn't question that this is not a being that's acting very benevolent. This is
Right.
not somebody who's, and it's almost like a Wizard of Oz scenario.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel when I see this projection is don't look behind the curtain. There's something there on that planet, and it's something particularly nasty. But
I wish they would have played that up a little bit more.
yeah,
I wish they would have played up the man behind the curtain a little bit more because they did have the big head on the,
yeah. And it made me
head.
feel like it did make me feel like I was watching an original series episode in a way.
Yeah.
With
Which I liked.
that this really feels like Trek to me. I dig this movie with its flaws.
Right.
But yeah, what does God need with the starship?
My
So,
my biggest problem is probably not what most people think of when they think about this movie. I don't mind a weaker script. I don't mind having
mm,
to take a jump into logic whenever the alien's there and he gives just a very short backstory. I get it.
yeah,
Okay, you're an ancient alien. You're a species that
yeah.
nobody knows. You're really fucking powerful. Got it. My problem really starts, and I can't not see it when they come down to the planet side, and they're flying, and they show the mountain range, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going by, and you can see car tracks in the desert.
You see a road. I pointed out to my wife, I said, why is there
Yeah,
a fucking road going up the mountain?
exactly.
Let me add to that real quick before I forget. Also, they have some amazing tech on this new Enterprise. They have a follow along drone camera so the crew back can watch and see what's going on. We actually see them step off the
Right.
shuttle as if a camera had been set up 20 feet away.
Kind of
I
like the
thought
moon
that,
landing.
yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
Sorry, I couldn't resist.
It's
Anyway,
not one I'm ready to buy yet. But anyway.
so no, neither am I. But anyway, they're on the planet. Okay, but even before I see the road on the planet and the
I
tire
forgot
tracks,
about the road, dude.
the the special effects of the Enterprise flying up to the
Yeah.
big cloud misty thing that's going to go through the barrier. I thought that was really bad special effects. It felt to me that they had a model and a screen, and they just parked the model in front of the screen because you could see the outline of the model
Yeah.
like the whole time, and that bothered me. I'm just sitting there looking at this, thinking, you guys just did three of the most beautiful movies that you did the first one, you did Wrath of Khan, you did Search for Spock, you found picking up Spock and taking him home.
Mm-hmm.
You did all these great movies with really good special effects. What the hell happened? Did you guys just go home? But okay, that special effects weren't great for me.
For whatever reason, I thought they were okay and better.
And that's a valid argument. I get it.
Yeah.
It's the Enterprise, and I love the freaking Enterprise. So you're never gonna make me
Yeah.
hate it entirely. But here's where I really start having a problem. Cybok, they're all gonna go down planet side. Cybok's hair's cut. He's got a cut hair. He had long hair. It's short hair.
I miss that.
They never see him cutting his hair. It's not like he says, oh, I have to prepare to meet God and goes cleans himself up. Doesn't show him cutting his hair any ritual way. And he takes off that really kick-ass robe that he's been wearing
Yeah.
through the whole fucking movie, with all the emblems,
Mhm.
the Vulcan stuff
It's a
on
really
it. I'm
cool,
like,
cool robe.
okay, he took that. When did he take that off? He's on the
He-
shuttlecraft. They didn't show him taking that off or getting anything else on. That
It's
doesn't even
weird.
look like what he was wearing underneath it. But he's on the planet. His hair's been cut. And then if you watch, his hair goes from long to short again and long to short again,
God,
like a couple of times. And
they did some
it does
reshoots in
so
here.
also with when the god creature starts imitating him.
Oh,
That,
that I
that
noticed
creature's hair
that he
starts
looked
growing
very
back.
different. Yeah,
Yeah. But his hair is also cut.
yeah. I noticed
And then
that
it's
when he.
long again, and then it's cut, and then Cybok goes to see him. His hair's long and cut, and I'm just like, "Oh my god, how did you guys not pick up on this?" I saw that the first time I was at the theater. It took me right out of the movie, and I was like, "Where in the hell was their script
Wow,
person?"
wow. Wow. Yeah,
So
I didn't even,
now
and
that
here's
you
the thing,
see,
I didn't even catch that until you
now that I
mentioned it. It's
told
like,
you, you're not
oh,
going to be able to unsee it.
no, I
But
won't, and that's fine.
that's the one thing that really bothers me about this movie.
Yeah.
Everything else I'm okay with. I'm okay with, my two favorite lines. What does God need with a starship? And not in front of the Klingons.
Yeah, there's a lot of good here, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
guess and the thing it gets me is I think the story could have been stronger, but what worked so well is the family aspect. Not to sound like
yeah,
Vin Diesel,
yeah.
but it's family.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so I will say this: out of all the Star Trek movies, this is one of my favorites because it just makes
Really?
me feel good when I watch it.
All
I
right.
I
Fair
seeing
enough.
those
No, it's
guys
good.
together, and that's what I dig about it. Weak story and all,
Yeah.
but I still put Khan and the Voyage Home above it.
Yeah. Khan
So
Khan is always going to be my number one Star Trek
yeah,
movie. There's
yeah, I
not
don't see how it can't be.
nothing comes close. Nothing comes close to Star Trek as
Right,
far as that's
right.
the
So
ultimate Star Trek movie for me.
yeah, I definitely say give this a watch. In fact, watch all of them. Man, you can never go wrong with Star Trek.
No,
Well,
you can't.
most of the time you cannot go wrong with Star Trek. So
We're talking about the original series.
yeah, with the original series, and even
Um,
then there'll be some episodes you don't like. And I'm a huge fan of Voyager, and
right.
when you start bringing in space clowns, I got a freaking problem. So, or if you want to if you want to turn Paris and Janeway into a freaking lizard and they'll mate and have babies, that is an awesome episode too. Not anyway. Yes, folks, Janeway turns into a lizard with Tom Paris, and they have babies. So anyway. Voyager spoilers abound. So
I liken this episode or this movie to Spock's Brain episode of the original series. It had its big WTF are you doing to my character, but it had an all around kind of good story. Like they basically steal
yeah,
Spock's brain and use it as their home computer, for lack of a
yeah.
better word. And I mean, it's for as bad as that episode is. I mean, there's been worse.
Oh,
we've seen worse stuff than that.
oh,
But I like
absolutely.
this in the venue of motion pictures that this is that episode. This is Spock's brain episode. And it's mostly because of the inconsistencies in the hair and the costuming. That just and no excuse for any of it. There's when you're spending that
There
kind of
really
money.
isn't. There is no excuse.
And that's where I
Accidents
start.
happen, but that's a big one, dude.
If this was like a really low budget movie, like $10 million, 5 million, shit, $30,000,
Now
I
we're
would
in
be
the low
like,
budget range.
I'd be like, okay, I get it, low budget, you guys, I get it. But this was not a low budget. This was
This is
maybe
millions.
mid range budget
Yeah.
probably for a Star Trek movie. But I'm glad they didn't end the series of the original characters with this one.
Yeah, I'm glad they didn't either.
Much better.
One of the things that I had never noticed or I completely forgot is the hinting of a relationship between Uhura and Scotty.
Mm-hmm. Which I think
it was weird. It's like, yeah, why after all this time you're going to do this? No, just leave it alone.
Yeah.
There's no point.
It didn't make any sense because there was nothing to hint it at. Like if it would have been her and Kirk or her and Spock, even I would have got it. I would have went like, oh, okay, I get it. Even her and Sulu, I would have got. I would have been like, oh, okay, they're always on the bridge together. I get it, But that just came out of nowhere. That was just like,
it was weird. What? That was weird. But also another great line. Don't you recognize a jailbreak when you see one? And I know this ship, bonk. There's a lot of humor here. Yeah, a lot
probably
of humor.
Some of that humor was probably fairly forced, but it was funny. It would, he bangs his head. I mean,
so what's your final thoughts on that?
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah. Oh shit!
Oh no, your universe is just falling apart.
Keep talking while I repair the tear in space and time.
The only thing I can come up with is that was after Uhura was cleared by Cybok. Like she got rid of all her PTSD and all her
Oh,
problems. And that was just something that, it could have been anybody at that point getting in her way, maybe.
yeah. I don't know. All right,
Got
we'll
rid of
try
her
this again.
inhibitions. I'm going to
And did
read
a
through
s-
the
and did a
cast.
sexy dance. That's what
Yeah.
they did, which was very odd to see. It's like, okay, well, all right.
Gonna get Michelle Nichols naked.
Yeah. Yeah, I was speaking of cast. I was surprised to see David Warner in here. That was a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. He also plays a Klingon
I
in a later
know.
movie, which is very cool. William Shatner was Kirk. I'm just gonna go through the names real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Leonard Nimoy is Spock. DeForest Kelly, love DeForest Kelly as McCoy. James Doohan was Scotty. Walter Koenig, who I wish would have had a bigger part,
He was
was
hardly in this.
Chekhov. Nichelle Nichols was Uhura. George Takai was that other guy that leaves a blinker on when he drives. Sulu. David Warner, St. John Talbot. Lawrence Luckinbill was Cybok.
Yeah. What else has he been in? Because he is so familiar looking.
He's a character actor, but I found out something interesting about him. He was an in-law to the Des Arnaz and Lucy. He married.
Ah,
Don't know which daughter, or if they had
he
more than one
married into
daughter.
Star Trek.
Yeah. So Desilu Studios is who started Star Trek,
Yeah.
really. There's some other people. Oh, Cord. Charles Cooper was Cord. That was just Todd Bryant was Captain Claw.
Yeah. Show
So
enough.
that was shown up. Cord is the older general.
Yeah. The older general. Yeah, it was almost like a bumbling idiot almost. Why did they make him like such a softy Klingon?
But well, he was just giving up, man. He gave up.
He was. It was obvious.
Well, he winds up. You know who he winds up being, right?
No.
Cord winds up being. He winds up running the Klingon Empire.
Okay.
He doesn't get killed until it's either Next Generation or
Oh shoot.
he doesn't die until either the Next Generation or Deep Space Nine. I forgot which one.
Oh wow.
But then there's a battle to take over the Klingon Empire. So Cord lives.
That's
like
cool. That's
years.
cool. That's awesome.
He's the big dog in charge.
Well, this event Williams, maybe helped. Yeah.
Spice Williams as Vixus. I think that's the big Klingon chick.
It is. It is. Yeah.
And then there's other names in here that here it is. George Murdoch. Oh my freaking God. Kat's gonna shit when I show her this. George Murdoch was the guy who played God. Now, George Murdoch, if there's any Barney Miller fans out there, this is the guy who played Strickland, who was the internal affairs investigator that was always coming in and turning up trouble. That's mind-blowing. I had no idea until I just read this, and I was like, holy crap. His name is George Murdoch. That guy, just watch Barney Miller and wait for his character to show up because it's
very
brilliant.
cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's the guy who played God. But yeah, I didn't know that.
Very cool. Yeah.
But I do recommend this movie for
Absolutely.
like my little nitpicks there. I still enjoy it. I can't, but the thing that kills me is I can't not see it now.
But no, I'm going to be seeing that now.
Like seeing a camera in a mirror, like when they're doing a shot in a room, and all of a sudden you see the mirror and you see the camera in the mirror, like you can't not see it anywhere. It takes you right.
It's always there. It's always there. Yeah. Always there. So yes, folks, we will be returning next week with Star Trek VI, The Undiscovered Country.
Yes.
This is a good one too. It's a nice court drama. Star Trek is known to have its court movies and episodes, and they're usually pretty damn good.
David Warner makes another appearance.
Yep. So I can't wait.
Kick him out.
Can't wait to talk to you all about it. So tune in next week for more Trek. And thanks again. Hit the like, hit the share, hit the subscribe, tell your mom, tell a friend, drop us a line. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And we will catch you next week, and live long and prosper, Dave.